Okay, yeah, okay. David Icke, InfoWars, the Illuminati are manipulating your reality. So in checking out some of the comments, that was interesting. All these people saying all these things about David Icke, and we're not a big David Icke fan, but when you start reading the comments, you begin to recognize that white people, white people seem to get turned off, turning off of religion and God, and everything is a myth when they recognize that God is not white. In other words, white people become atheists when they wake up or realize that God is not white. And you made a good comment that as they go to all these countries and all these civilizations and dig up all this stuff, they begin to destroy these people, and then these people used to be living peacefully and everything, and then they kill them. You understand? Or they try to convert them to their religion, but then the white people lose their own religion, right? The religion that they've been forcing on everybody else, the more they begin to research that God is not white. I just see a connection between the irreligiousness of white folks and what's going on with like America and just around the world, with the fact that white people basically, whether they can admit it openly or not, get turned off to God, Bible, everything's a myth. And the biggest myth is white people. That's the biggest myth. The biggest myth is white supremacy. The biggest myth was the white Jesus, or is the white Jesus, because still there's some people, and it's more actually non-white people who are holding on to white Jesus, the myth that white people made up, than the white people themselves. I mean, really, look at it. If people just stop for a moment and say, wait, how well did this white Jesus and white supremacy thing serve them? I mean, look at the world right now. Look at the condition of the world. But there's definitely a connection between white people becoming atheists and with the fact that they realize and they recognize that Jesus is not white, that God is not white, Jesus is not white. The most they got is basically Santa Claus, and that come out of Germany. You know what I mean? And it's just very interesting. I don't know if other people kind of see it. Like, I think it's like really clear, but something I want to kind of like, not even just meditate on, but I don't know. What you think about it? You think that expresses it? I mean, there's other ways of probably. I think everybody should just think about it for a moment. The fact that all of a sudden, white people have been carrying this religious stuff, right, and conquering people to civilize them and bring them into Christianity and everything. And then all of a sudden, we come to like the 20th century, and white people are like going after everything other than white Jesus. You know what I mean? It's like they're losing more and more their own so-called religion. So what could be behind that? Unless they know, consciously or unconsciously, that God's not white. This is why all this New Age stuff, folks going around worshiping all kind of things, talking about Mayan calendars and stuff. And another thing too, you notice with all the like so-called religions, modern kind of mythologies, where like white people are God or something like that, or white people are running it, they're all the ones responsible for all these false flags and all these false prophecies. You could go back to the Great Disappointment, when a lot of people, I think, sold everything they had. It was like 1899 or somewhere around then, and they were expecting like the end of the world to come. And then you have like these modern kind of cults and stuff like that. I mean, even look at Jim Jones. Black folks were killed. They killed themselves. They suicided themselves. And they was following a white man. I mean, all of these even dangerous cults happen to have white people at their head, and they always end up suiciding. And you have to think about it for a moment. Still, the majority of the world believes in the white Jesus. And you can see the majority of the world is suiciding itself. It's killing itself. Or they believe in another cult that some white people made up. You know what I mean? It's like the inability to kind of just recognize the truth. That the white man is not God. White Jesus never existed. All that is false. They corrupted the story. They added in their own ideas. And if they could just clear away all of that and just get to the root again, maybe they can save themselves, and maybe the world, not even the world, but maybe the people in the world, because the world is basically white people creation. This whole system, you know, even it's kind of comical watching like the Alex Jones show on a certain level, not because of the real dangers even he points out and everything, but because it's like they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror. You know what I mean? It's always like, and then he's a little more sober than some of these other guys. Some of these other guys are talking about like kind of aliens and all these other kind of shit. You know what I mean? All this other space shit. You know, but then you have to ask yourself, how come every other people, just about every other non-European root race people believed in God? They never had, you can't find in other civilizations where they question there was a God, and people say, oh, these people wasn't civilized, they wasn't advanced and so forth. But they didn't manage to kill themselves and kill everybody else either, and pollute and destroy the world. I mean, how? I mean, you could talk about global warming, weather, what they call it, climate change. Maybe all that is like kind of exaggerated. Maybe we are in a cycle. But it's very clear that the white man, the European, the Anglo-European has been polluting and destroying the earth. I mean that's very clear. I mean you can look at it. You know what I mean? You can look at it. You know, it's all over. You know what I mean? And who's responsible for that? Some aliens? Some extraterrestrials? Some space invaders? Who's responsible? He makes these bullshit movies that make you think like, oh, there's something just evil floating around. I'm not saying that there's good people and there's bad people, but the white man, the European, he's been a problem to himself. And once he came out of the caves and everything, he wasn't like, oh, we civilized, we helped out so many. I mean, he would still say that he helped out folks. Yeah, instead of living and raping and pillaging and repenting. I think white people need to repent. That's just another thought there. Anyway, let's watch this a little bit more. Let's check this out a little bit more. Go ahead, hit it. Yeah. They lose their religion when they find out that God ain't white.
They need to repent and stop being a serpent.
Repent, white people. Stop being a serpent. Stop being a serpent. I think if white people are able to do that, if they're able to repent even in large number, other people who be doing some bad things would even I mean, can you imagine? Can you really imagine? I mean, those are things we really need to pray for. Pray that white people repent and stop being serpents.